Alberta's Deputy Premier and Infrastructure Minister Nathan Neudorf got into a little bit of hot water recently about comments he made about the expansion of the Red Deer Regional Hospital. According to the Red Deer Advocate, Neudorf says there are complexities that most of the general public does not understand, and it's difficult to explain them because it's tedious and very time-consuming. Now, to chat about this in more detail is our Alberta Infrastructure Minister, Nathan Neudorf, who joins us here from Lethbridge. Nathan, welcome back to Bridge City News.
Great to be here, Hal. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Now, Nathan, the NDP called some of your comments arrogant. How do you respond? How do you see it?
Well, of course they do, Hal. This is the political games that go on. But the truth is this, the very reason I went to Red Deer was to spend time with their mayor and council, over 2 hours, and time with their community, where I spent 2.5 hours going through the entire process to pull back the curtain on why does a healthcare project take so long. They have immediate needs in healthcare, and they don't want to wait the better part of 10 years to get the beds and the services that they require. So the number one question is, why does it take so long? Well, it does have to do with the complexities of building a healthcare facility. There's extreme codes, and there's a lot more that goes behind the walls and above the ceilings that people don't see in the finished product, nor should they necessarily care about it when they're going there to get their healthcare need met. But being able to tell the community transparently, with full honesty and integrity, what's going into the process, why it takes so long to be designed, and why it takes a long time to be built, is the honesty and good governance that I tried to do myself in person with them. And the vast majority of those who attended were very pleased that for the first time in years, somebody came to speak with them and tell them the truth. And I'm very pleased that I was able to do that.
Nathan, Premier Daniel Smith has been outspoken about the Trudeau Liberals' Just Transition plan, transitioning hundreds of thousands of Albertans out of the oil and gas sector. How do you plan on fighting back on that? Perhaps maybe bringing forth the Alberta sovereignty within the United Canada Act?
Well, what we prefer to start with is a collaborative approach. This just transition is completely out of touch with today's current realities. We have hundreds of thousands of employees serving in our oil and gas and our energy sector, and we have huge global demand for these products. We know that we have to transition out, and we in Alberta are working with our stakeholders, our key industry partners, to make that happen in a more and more responsible way. In fact, Alberta leads the world on our ESG, our environmental and social governance policies. We're happy to lead the world in that. We are leading the way in Canada, and we need to make sure that we transition in the appropriate time when there's viable solutions. Many of them are not there. And people that come back and say, well, we have battery operated cars, all I say is, where does the energy come from to power those cars? Right now in Canada, the vast dominant supplier of that energy is oil or natural gas. We do want to make this transition. We do want to do it appropriately. We do want to do it with the environment in mind, but there is a way to do it. And we're asking the federal government to stay in their lane and work with us on the appropriate way to do that without the bullying that we've seen too often from them.
Let me ask you something. Is the province looking into potentially getting more of our oil and gas to Tidewater, perhaps through northern British Columbia? Have there been discussions with BC's new Premier, David Eby, in that regard?
Absolutely. We're looking at every option possible to getting our great energy to market, whether we go through BC in cooperation with the new premier there, or whether we work with Saskatchewan and Manitoba to go to the port of Churchill or somewhere in Hudson's Bay. We're very happy. We're collaboratively with all the provinces in partnerships. That's why we've talked a lot about economic corridors and pathways. And most importantly, working with our First Nations to make sure that they have a part to play and a role in this economic development that benefits them as well. So yeah, we are looking at every avenue and possible access to market. We just ask the federal government to help with that instead of standing in our way.
Government officials have often talked about red tape reduction and how it saves Alberta taxpayers a lot of money. Nathan, can you discuss how red tape has actually helped many Alberta business owners?
For sure. Red tape, every business owner knows the hoops they have to jump through to try to get their products sold and recover that cost and make a little bit of profit. When we can make that more efficient, we can make it take less time, they make more money, and we as Albertans all benefit. There's a couple of examples. We've changed some things under the Financial Innovation Act, which allows for a regulatory sandbox for some of these innovators to try things without having to answer every question, so we can determine more early what will work and what won't and refine that process. We've streamlined some regulatory requirements so that people can get their businesses operating more efficiently, not waiting for government for answers, but getting it in a more timely fashion. And an example there is we've changed things under the Municipal Government Act, which allows businesses to establish inter-municipal business licenses, people like food trucks, where they don't have to buy multiple licenses for municipalities that are next to each other, saving them time, saving them money. And I think there's some estimates that it saved Albertans over $2.1 billion in the last couple of years. We're very proud of that fact.
Now, Nathan, you and I have chatted in the past about the physician shortage in a number of regions, including right here in Lethbridge. And now the province is investing $1 million to explore ways the post-secondaries, including the University of Lethbridge, can help deliver medical education. Can you explain that collaboration?
Absolutely. I'm very proud of the administration at the University of Lethbridge in their putting this idea forward, that there's lots of studies across Canada that show where people train is most often where they end up working or in a similar kind of setting. Lethbridge is not quite rural, but we are definitely a smaller municipality. Having those doctors, those physicians being able to be trained right here in Lethbridge means that after their 7, 10, 12 years of training, they could be very established in this community and therefore more likely to continue practicing. It helps the students, it helps the university, it helps our region, and it helps our city. I'm very proud of this initiative that we worked at cooperatively with the University of Lethbridge, with the University of Grand Prairie, to make sure that we take the next step to help the future in terms of healthcare provision.
Okay, how about the now? How many doctors can we look forward to seeing, come to Lethbridge in the next few months here?
Well, again, we've have 17 hired, and it takes a little bit of time for those people to move and get into Alberta to set up a home and a practice and get practicing. We've seen 4 come online in the last couple of months. We're looking forward to the rest of that 17. And now we're looking forward to the future graduation of at least 10 more as we continue to build that number to serve the needs of Lethbridge and Southern Alberta.
Nathan, when Jason Kenney was Premier, the UCP launched the Alberta is Calling campaign to attract more skilled workers here to our province. How well did that campaign do?
I think that campaign is doing extremely well. We've continued to see record numbers of immigrant population coming to Alberta, not just internationally, but also interprovincially. Now, not every single one of those individuals will find a job in those much needed sectors, but they'll come and work, and many of them will find work in those areas where we really need those skilled workers. We are growing as a province. Our economy is very strong. We are not only leading the nation, we're one of the leading jurisdictions in all of North America. And that's attractive to everyone for opportunities, the opportunity to do well with their family. And I look forward to the continued success of that program and others like it.
Let's talk about the new Agri-food and Trade Hub Centre, like here in our region in Lethbridge here. We're watching all of the expansion, the construction going on right now. What kind of agribusiness, Nathan, will this really bring to Lethbridge and southwestern Alberta?
Well, it'll bring the ability to showcase all of those different innovative ideas, from tractor and truck dealerships and their equipment to farmers, their seeds, their product, farmers markets, all of that expanding. It'll also prepare through the college and the university the ability to showcase the food products that we can actually produce from what's grown in the region. We're really proud of that. We're excited about the entire new space. And we'll see continued growth of our convention weddings sector with the great new space right off the lake. It's really exciting to see what they can do with that space. It just opens so many opportunities to showcase the strength of our agriculture and our agricultural food production sector here in Southern Alberta. We're very proud of it, and we're getting very close to seeing that new site open to the public.
Nathan, the twinning of Highway 3 is not only a safety concern and long overdue, but you also believe that it can also beef up our GDP here in the province?
For sure. One of the greatest challenges for any industry is getting their product to market. One aspect of that is safety. So the twinning of the highway clearly helps move that in the right direction. The second is capacity, just making sure that our arteries are clear and that we can have our big Super B trucks and our big combines and tractors make that access from field to field and have that product get from field to producer or to our train system or a heavy trucking system going north south, and in some cases even onto airplanes around the world. So this will help that travel. Safety is key, of course, but capacity is the next step that this will help answer.
Now, to address the ongoing opioid crisis here in our city in Lethbridge, there's been a lot of support for another full-time supervised consumption site instead of the mobile truck that moves around. Many feel that harm reduction is vital and would really help save a lot of lives, and it's another good step. What are your thoughts about, and will we see another full-time supervised consumption site, something permanent?
I don't think that's the direction that we want to go. We had one of those, but without the other supports, we also saw the devastation it had on our downtown and the business community. What we really want to do is, yes, we understand that harm reduction is one part and one step in this program, and we have that. But we don't want to leave people there. What we really want to do is have them get into treatment, have them get into longer term programs where they can get their lives back. That's where we've invested. We have the new treatment center just to the east of Lethbridge coming online in the next couple of months. A little bit behind that, we have more on the blood reserve, more beds for treatment and recovery. That's where we want to focus. We don't want to leave people out in the cold, waiting in line just to get their next hit of an addictive drug or something like that. We want to take them the next step, which is into treatment and recovery. That's where our focus is. And that's where we're going to continue to work to get people back to the lives that they truly want.
Speaking of leaving people out in the cold, what about another warming shelter? What's the latest there? Is the province working with the City and Streets Alive to provide a safe and warm place for our city's most vulnerable?
Absolutely. We have provided $1 million of additional winter emergency shelter space funding as part of the action plan on this homelessness. We've seen those spikes in numbers go up and down over the last couple of months. Obviously, when the weather is very cold, it becomes more acute. And we're really proud of our service providers, Streets Alive, amongst others that have really stepped up to help us in this. And we will continue to work on that as the weather is a factor and as those bed shortages may need to be addressed. So we've made the investment. We were able to get through the last cold snap quite well, and we look forward to being able to manage it as we move forward through the winter.
And thank God for our Chinooks here in southwestern Alberta. Nathan, the provincial election is coming up in May. Many feel that it's a pretty tight race right now between the UCP and the NDP. Some political pundits say Edmonton may be won by the NDP. The rural regions will go to the UCP, and that leaves Calgary, my hometown, as the main battleground. How do you see it shaping up?
Well, a lot of that is probably fairly accurate. I think we have a lot of historical data that would show us that those are the trends, but we look forward to running great candidates in every single constituency across Alberta. We think our budget and economic track record is phenomenal, while also meeting the social needs of our cities. We were able to give teachers a raise for the first time in 7 or 8 years. We gave nurses raises. We also gave disability workers raises that they haven't seen in over a decade. We care about our people in Alberta. We care about meeting their needs, and we're doing it in a balanced budget way that secures the future of these programs and not just throwing money to the wind. We're very proud of that. We're proud of paying down debt. We're proud of adding money to our heritage fund and look forward to creating even a stronger future for the next generation.
What is it going to take to win Calgary? Maybe throw some money at to help get a new arena built for the Calgary Flames and Calgary Flames Sports and Entertainment?
No, what we really want to do is provide good governance. We want to show the people of Calgary that we've got compassion and capabilities to balance the budget and meet the needs that they've got. We want to make strategic and smart infrastructure investments so we're meeting their needs not just today, but also into the future. With that, I think we can show good governance and people understand hey, you have to balance the budget at home. The province needs to balance the budget as well, because that provides the stability for the future. And I'm proud of that message and proud of that track record.
Nathan, before we let you go, I want to ask, how busy are you right now that you are now Deputy Premier and as well Infrastructure Minister? Do you ever get a chance to see much of your family? Because every time we chat with you, you're either on the road. It's very rare that we actually catch you in Lethbridge.
Well, that's the responsibility and duty of the office, and I'm proud to serve in this capacity. I'm incredibly proud to serve Lethbridge East and Albertans in these roles, to bring my years of experience to infrastructure to help make the best decisions for Alberta that we can. And as Deputy Premier, to help make sure that our government, in a multi-ministry kind of way, are addressing some of the challenges that don't fit into one industry or one ministry in particular. And that's a collaboration and good governance model that, again, our government has brought forward to make sure that we are working in a collaborative way, in an integrated way, not just with ministries one with another, but also with our municipal partners and our federal partners. I think that's what good government looks like, and it does take a little bit of time and effort. Happy to do that on behalf of the people of Lethbridge East and Alberta.
Deputy Premier, Infrastructure Minister, and Lethbridge East MLA Nathan Neudorf, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Hal. Always appreciate it.
On behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News, I'm Hal Roberts. God bless and thanks for watching.